Hello there everyone, it's Mark3 and welcome to a somewhat recent early access release in the form of Timberborn, a post-apocalyptic colony/city builder where it proves the age-old adage of the cockroaches being the ones that will survive anything to not be quite true, because in this one we play as beavers. Yes. It's not the cockroaches or the bugs or the scorpions you have to worry about, it's the beavers, apparently. Or not, because we are the beavers. Always be on the winning side, right? But yeah, anyway. This is a bit of an interesting spin on a city builder, and it's definitely showing a lot of promise so far. I really do like it, especially with how the different factions here, we've got two so far at the moment, Iron Teeth here and the Folktales, the original default one. They share some common structures and themes, but they also have some differences as well. Folktales, easygoing, hardworking, expert farmers, respect nature and rewards them with plentiful bounties. They have natural growth, their housing structures are a bit odd, but they get some more options in terms of their power sources for their city in the early to mid game. The Iron Teeth defectors the traditional timber ways. They mastered iron and science to build advanced machinery. They progress through ingenuity, efficiency, and disregard for the environment. And you have to respect the environment a little bit in this game. Though not through a meter, it's an entire closed system cycle kind of thing. These guys, they don't have natural growth, they actually have artificial growth control for their population, which means you can measure the growth, but they also have to invest resources in that growth to actually get it going as well. They don't get as many power options, but they do have a very strong late game power option. By late game I mean like advanced materials are required for it. Not super far in / hard to get, but in terms of the available range of materials and investments, they don't have as many options. They also don't have an option to irrigate, which Folktales do. Instead they have an option to actually move water around. So they're more about altering the landscape to achieve the desires of their overlord, which is me. So think a bit more towards Mechanicus compared to the normal faction. Though I also note, by the way, from playing both factions on hard, Iron Teeth seem to get hit by harder droughts as well, so I think that disrespect for nature comes back to bite them a bit. Or either that or I'm being paranoid, but I really do feel like these guys get worse droughts more rapidly. And what do I mean by droughts? Well, yeah, I'll explain that when we actually get in there. But for this one, I'm just going to play Folktales, the normal woodsy happy critters who do their thing. Because, well, they are, as I said, they do have some different options. So it's not that one is better than the other, they just have a different flavour. And I do appreciate that. Next up, map. I am going to pick something mid-size because, well, the potato, basically. My computer might struggle later on, so if I can pick something smaller, then it won't tempt me to overexpand. 128 mountain range for 196, waterfalls for 128. I'm not familiar with half of these, to be honest. So I think... No, let's not take Canyon. Let's take Mountain Range or Terraces or Thousand Isles. I've not tried Terraces. Mountain Range is one I kind of like. You know, I'll take Mountain Range. It's a good one to show you. So yeah, take Mountain Range. And then easy, normal, hard. Hard can be quite punishing if you're not able to prepare fast enough, and it's really is a bit of a balancing act to get started on that. But we're not here to challenge. We're here to play. And I find normal is definitely quite an easy pace one, and, well, for me anyway. Hard, I can survive more or less, but it ramps up the difficulty extremely fast on hard, so you're in a very real race against time with your resources, and I appreciate that. But anyway, normal mode. And I'm going to skip here because my computer is slow, as I said, so loading times are an issue. See you in a few minutes. Okay, here we go. So, welcome to the actual world, and you'll notice instantly that most of it is very, very dull / grey, and that is because of the entire nature aspect I mentioned. O mighty forest, how I pine for thee, unknown beaver poet. It has dried out and died. So yeah, the entire nature system in this is the fact that water brings the land to life. When there is no water, it dries out and dies. And that plays into the fact that there is a seasonal system in here, where you've got a wet season and a dry season. That is all that's left to the world as far as seasons go. They might add more later, who knows. But a wet season is like the rivers are flowing normally from underground water sources of some kind. So these things, in this particular map, only has this one. So this is the sole source of water on the entire map that's going on here. And the dry season, that stops. The river dries out. There's no source of water. Food growing crops stop because they are drying out. The trees stop growing and start drying out and dying as well. So too long without water, all the plants die, and you can't harvest anything. And so you're basically relying on your reserves and what you've got your little industrious beaver paws on. So, you know, that's kind of the thing. So that's the great cycle of life as far as this game is concerned, and I am going to get started. By the way, when you get into a construction menu, it actually makes the water transparent. I wish there was a toggle for that on here somewhere. If there is, I've not really noticed it, but yeah. Let's actually get started and start planning. One thing I wish to note really quickly here is that these paths, they never cost anything, but in the original demo before this thing hit early access, they did require a construction beaver to come out and build it. I guess people complain about that, or it wasn't really liked too well, but I actually kind of miss that. I miss that you actually divert some of your workforce to deal with getting the roads laid out and things like that. I kind of wish they'd bring that back, if I'm going to be entirely honest. What? I want life to be a little bit more difficult / inconvenient? Oh well, yeah, that's me, I suppose. But anyway, we need to get started. So, the world starts with blueberries, which is a basic resource. It supplies hunger, and they grow so long as the ground beneath them is wet. You can plant these early on, not just at the start, but you can learn how to plant them. But for now, this is our only food source, but it only does hunger. And what does hunger play into? It plays into the well-being of your citizens. All these different attributes that you get, and that measures how well your colony is doing. By the way, to unlock the iron teeth, these guys, you need to unlock those by getting, I think it was 6 or 8 attributes up and fulfilled. I think it was 6. And then you can use the Iron Teeth faction. So that is a good way of meta progression, I think. Prove you kind of know what you're doing, and you get more difficult factions to deal with. Or more different ones. But anyway, yeah, moving on. Filling these doesn't just do random things, it also fires bonuses to the beavers as well. So as you can see, like lots of life expectancy, working speeds, walking speeds, carry weight, strength, fertility for social life, things like that. These stars, if you meet the need, you get that bonus for that beaver. And by the way, there's a slightly different thing for children as well. In particular, social and fun both increase the speed at which they turn into adults, and then you get more of their lifetime actually working for you. And then life expectancy and things like, you know, just help out in general. So it pays to take care of your beavers. I should also note that it changes from faction to faction as well, exactly what you get benefits from. Like Iron Teeth don't actually get a social bonus when they're an adult. So there is that. But a lot of their stuff actually focuses on getting them extra lifespan. So Iron Teeth tend to live longer if you look after them, and so it makes their breeding, which you have to pay resources into, more efficient. So that's something good to do. Yeah, comfort here, plus 25%, life expectancy plus 5% walking speed, always a good one. So we need to start trying to do these to make our beavers more effective, is the basic theme here. Like right now they're homeless, so need to worry about that, but not right now. I need to get myself set up. So let's get some food. First off, a gathering flag to start on these guys would be nice. Let's pop it there, I guess. And yes, I was just counting there. I'll tell you why in a little bit. Then I'll also start putting down some lumber flags around the place. These flags, by the way, they do need a beaver to come out and build them, but they are free. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put down a 5th one. Then I'll put down a water pump, because if you don't do this as one of your initial buildings, like the tutorial tells you to literally do this really quick. Your beavers are already starting out dehydrating, but you don't start with any water. You start off with some food, but not water. Unless on easy mode. I've never tried easy mode. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But problem is the water pump needs wood, which I need to assign. And you do this by zone control. So I'm going to tell you to harvest trees in this area. Harvest trees in this area. Oh, that goodness. So yeah, I'm telling them where to forest. Now the problem is these guys won't actually plant trees. That again comes later. Also, these dead trees, they don't grow, so they're literally like a supply of wood you can harvest and then it's gone. But these living trees, if they are left alone, they actually will spread out nearby. So a fully grown living tree can actually start to spread and propagate around itself. And you can actually do natural forestation and things like that. The problem is it's a lot slower than if you actually go and take direct control. So it's not something to be relied on, and you're usually better off just like cutting out as many trees as you can as fast as you can just to get started. That's probably the best way to put it. Good, they're starting to gather the wood. The builders are starting to go to and fro. I assigned extras in here, so I've got everyone currently assigned. 4 people running around doing that. That is good. And that will also keep my people from dying of thirst. So excellent, we are off to a good start. Oh yeah, I think I forgot to mention. Yeah, I paused there. And I'm just going to pull 1 beaver over there because I don't have any free. So it's telling me right now the buildings are lacking workers. I don't need the builders right now, so I'm actually going to pull 3 off. I deliberately overbuilt slightly. So that will get all lumberjack flags going and the water pump going as well. So, you know, reassign people at random. But yeah, the thing I was going to say is, I was delayed doing this, but Dan expressed an interest in seeing some footage of this game because he thought it looked interesting, and that's why I'm doing this little series here now. So there you go. You can blame Dan for this one. And thank you, Dama. I did need a little push to actually decide to record this one. I was a little bit hesitating, and real life issues getting in the way a little bit. It's that kind of thing. And yes, fully rotatable camera. Apparently there is actually a couple of quick 90-degree turn keys I didn't know about, so I accidentally found those just now. Whoops. But anyway, yes. Little beavers are doing just fine, aren't they? But I have plans. I have plans. And my first plan is I'm going to put down a lumber stockpile. This is something recommended by the tutorial really early, so I'm actually slightly behind on this. I don't mind though, because flags have their own internal storages as well, and they are not full, so that's okay. But for this faction, they're free. That said though, the Iron Teeth, the other faction, theirs are not free. But they actually count as a solid structure, and you can build them on top of them. So they can be integrated into your larger construction works. While these guys, they have to be just on open ground. That's all they can do. But when I do that, the builders when idle can act as a transport to help move goods around. When lumberjack flags are full, or berry flags are full, their workers also act as like transport to start moving resources around the place, that kind of thing. So, you know, Some stuff it's okay to have idling, but some other things like the water pump is not so good because that worker doesn't actually go idle and go moving stuff. It's a bit hit or miss, to be honest. It really is a bit hit or miss. I think it's basically if it's an industrial style building, then they will not, when not needed, go and actually start hauling stuff around. What I'm going for is one of my 2 initial things for recreation, and I'll put that down there for social. Spinning on a campfire has to be on the ground, but notice I'm placing it off the green though. I'm placing it in the dried out dead sections of the earth because I want to make sure that it doesn't get in the way of things. Very good. And then I'm going to go into my next priority, which is actually the farmhouse. Now, why the farmhouse? Why am I not doing something potentially more interesting, like, I don't know, actually taking care of housing is generally considered to be an important one. But this is actually a habit I picked up from playing hard. I'd normally build a farmhouse before I even get a campfire out. In fact, I'd have beavers building a farmhouse as soon as I could after a water pump. I'm just taking it easy because we're on normal difficulty. And that's because farmhouse lets us plant crops and start growing food, and the berries, they can't keep us going for long. So I need alternate food sources. Not just to provide basic nutrition, but all my other food sources, they provide the nutrition bonuses, depending on what I grow. Also on hard mode, they actually grow more slowly as well, so, you know, that's also something to be aware of. But anyway, yeah, there we go. We've got 1 person in there already. I'm going to pause one of my lumber flags. Get a second worker into the farm. Jolly good. And we're going to start planting. Now, there's 3 of these. As a general rule of thumb, with carrots provide enough for 3 per harvest. 1 unit of food is needed per day per beaver. And so a harvest of carrots will provide 3. Potato provides 4. Wheat provides 5. And actually, I was just misreading things. I think they might have just balanced it slightly, but the growth time is actually the same as in hard mode. So, sorry, disregard I said that. Now, the difference is potatoes need to actually be grilled before you can have them. And wheat actually needs to be milled into flour and then baked into bread before you can eat it. And also you need to research and unlock the ability to process your wheat. While potato, you can just grill it up straight away, you just need the appropriate building, which is there. So that's the basics on nutrition. The thing is though, nutrition 1, nutrition 2, nutrition 3. Okay? So to get those 3 bonuses, they eat the one that is lowest when they go to eat. So you actually need to provide a balanced mix of all 3 food sources to get best bonus out of your people. Sorry, your beavers. So let's begin. So, what I counted out earlier was 10 of these, right? So that will provide 30 every time I harvest it. This is, by the way, how I arrange fields in this game, just to try and count how much I can actually feed my population. So 10 times 3 is 30, but it takes 4 days to grow. So 4 across, and that should provide enough carrots to feed 30 beavers. So, off to a very solid start. The problem is, of course, 4 days to grow, so that'll take a while. And the thing is, I can actually do a lot better than that. So, let's go ahead and drop another field. Same as well. That bush is in the way. I'm actually going to delete that bush because it's already been harvested. And I don't mind losing the berry because I'd rather have the carrots. Also of note is that they plant and harvest radially from the farmhouse they are stationed at. So that can help with placement. But there are some overrides in the actual farmhouse itself, which I'll get to in a moment because we're not quite done with that yet. I'm also going to, very quickly, install... That's empty, good. I'll get rid of that. Because the tree line is receding a little bit, I will actually plant a couple of extra lumber flags a bit further deeper in. And keep that going. 53%. I want to actually get rid of that one as well. Because it's where I want to put my path. So there we go. Beaver Society is flourishing. And yes, I know, I'm building up a stockpile of logs and things like that. This is, again, tactics hardened by hard mode. Right, first up, farmhouse. Planted, growing. I don't want to plant any more right now, so I'm going to pause that, free up those 2 workers, which will go and work in those 2 lumber flags I just placed down. So off they go and do that. And the reason I'm rushing ahead right now is because drought season on hard mode would already be threatening. It would actually already be on the warning mode within the first couple of cycles. So you get like maybe 4 or 5 days, usually about, I think it's like 4 or 5 days. I think it's 5. Yeah, 5 you're going to hit your first drought season on hard, I think it is. And the river will dry up straight away. So even housing takes a second seat to getting your first dam up to stop yourself losing all your water. And that's what I've just done, dams. There we go. Thing is, they cost 20 wood each. Sorry, 20 logs each, that's 60 logs. We've got 95, so we're in no danger at all. Also, I'll assign an extra 1 because another kid grew up. I'll assign 2 more just because reasons. We're getting the dams up. And I'll also get a water barrel up, and I'll set that to a higher priority. All good building games have a priority system, so you can override build order. Because if you didn't have the priority, they would just build in the order you place the things, if they could reach it. But yeah, put that down there. Get that sorted out, and then we'll be able to at least retain some water when the drought season, when the dry season hits. Jolly good. We're making progress. And then from here, I just sit and try and go until the dam's complete. I'd like to note, by the way, this is actually a rare map where it only needs 3 dam tiles to get a dam up fully across the river. Most maps, you're looking at like 5 to 8 dam tiles. Normally closer to 8. And some unfortunate maps actually have like 10 plus. Or make it literally impossible to deal with. Like Thousand Isles, it's actually impossible to properly dam your water supply in because it's just so big. So storing water is your only option for survival on hard mode. Quite literally, because you know, dry season's going to come and then all your crops are going to dry out. So your dry seasons last only long enough really to try and grow your crops. Well, even then, your early crops. So dry seasons, wet seasons. Yeah. To let you know, on hard mode, it's not wet seasons that are the norm, it's the dry seasons that are the norm. Wet seasons are rare and very precious, and you must plan accordingly. Which is why we're not playing on hard. There we go. It's not looking too bad. We've got the dam up. Dam blocks are a half block tile, so they retain, if you're fully across it, a half block's worth of water behind them. So they're a good start. And of course, as you saw there, beavers can walk across them. I've extended my path across them, and path tiles add this extra little railing bit on top. So beavers can get across that, and I can extend my network to get across there. So, what is next in the wonderful world of beavers? Next is getting some housing for me. Because farms are still growing, beavers are growing up, we've got a full workforce in there. So let's begin. We start off with Lodge and Mirror Lodge, which are these little squat houses. And as you can see, they're flat roofs, they've got a single access point, and they house 3 people apiece. And they satisfy the sleep and the comfort. The Iron Teeth, by the way, get a bigger, more expensive building called a barracks, which also supply sleep and comfort, but they are slightly more efficient in terms of build space. So these are 2x2x1. The basic barracks is a 3x2x2, so worth 3 of these, but they can house an extra beaver in comparison. And they cost a bit less wood as well, I think. So yeah, they can be a useful thing to have, but right now... Let's go ahead and pop down these. And of course, need extra space, because extra space is what causes this faction to start breeding. That plus social helps as well. Oh yeah, that's a fact. That's a little trick that I was forgetting actually. But yeah, if you have extra space in an area, as long as the beavers are kept fed, and if you keep your social up, then you're going to start getting more baby beavers popping out pretty quickly until you reach your population limit. And even then, it'll probably go a little bit past that. So you do have to keep an eye on it a little bit, at the very least. Oh, disconnected building. There we go. Yeah, little trick, which I only recently worked out for myself, by the way, is this. You can actually set your working hours. If you want to, and it's an emergency, you can crank it all the way up to 24, but you're leaving your beavers no time to sleep, and that can have some serious effects pretty quickly. But as Iron Tooth, I'm not sure how well it works with these guys, because these guys benefit a bit more from social, but it should work okay for them as well. As long as you keep on top of things, you can crank your work hours up to 18 hours, so they work the start of the night, and they'll still be able to get social and still get decent sleep. So, you know, you can play around with this to see what keeps working for your colony, but early on you can very easily get 18 hours without risking at all running short on sleep, which I find quite interesting. It's not often games give you that degree of control, and beavers, they're very industrious, they don't complain. That might become a factor later on as development continues, but yeah, if I want to, like, hey, 24-hour work shift, and they'll do it until they drop. But yeah, 18, quite reasonable. Oh, yeah, quite reasonable. Also, yeah, I forgot to mention this when I did it, but water tanks stores wood, stores water. Only 30 in the small water tanks, which is very small, but the pumps only hold 15. And yeah, so workers can take water from the pumps to the tanks, and tanks means you can place it strategically so that beavers don't have as far to go to get the water. And that's part of the whole city layout kind of thing. And also water tanks hold your water when dry seasons hit. So, you know, they work quite well there. Oh, hooray, I'm at level 5. Look at me, I'm actually starting to grow a little bit. Also, these two are kind of maxing out because there's plenty of room, so let's pause those. Let's pull off 2 builders. I pause them just so that any logs in stock can get moved out. If I delete the buildings, if you delete buildings right now, they just disappear and you don't get any resources back from them. So if I deleted that, it has 1 log in storage, I'd lose that log. If I deleted the house here, I'd get no refund for it. I expect, given the competency I've seen so far, that that will be addressed later on in development, because it really sticks out right now as something that's not quite right. And yes, I'm placing 4 lumber flags up there. Okay, that's empty, so get rid of that one. That's empty, so get rid of that one. And these flags will help strip out the trees in this little raised bit over here quite neatly. Oh, and look at that, the carrots are starting to come in. So I actually need to reshuffle those 2 workers anyway. Actually, you know what? Let's pull them off these one here, because these ones are all but used up anyway. So there we go, perfect. Oh, and we're about to hit 30 minutes, so this is going to be part of the this is going to be the end of the first episode, roughly. Sorry about going a bit industrial kind of things, but this is kind of how I play these games. I like to work out approaches that work for me, and then get rolling on it a bit. But in this case, this is something good to note, which is right now there's only the one farmhouse, but generally you'll need more farmhouses to even keep up with your fields really quickly, so it's good to plan for that. But you can actually specialise in a bit. First off, you can prioritise for a given crop type. Like if there's an action available for that crop type within the actual reach of the building, then it'll go and actually do that first before going to any other crops or nearest crop. And then let's prioritise. You can prioritise either harvesting or planting. It's a very good idea to have planting selected, because that way as soon as there's an open spot, they'll plant a new crop immediately and it can start to grow. But later on you might want farms dedicated to harvesting. But right now, see, they took the plant and then they immediately refilled it. Also worth noting, farmhouses act as storage as well. They're not a default storage structure, but they can hold up to 50 of every crop type at the same time. So it's not 150 total, it's 50 carrots, 50 raw potatoes, and 50 wheat. So they help to negate an initial requirement for storage, but you will need storage before long. And we'll get to that next time. But until then, though, thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying the show, and I'll catch you all some other time for some more Timberborn, where we help the beavers take over the world after humanity wrecked it. See you all later.